again, this is Omar Ramos from Omar.com, and in this video I'm going to be going over really the primary use case for DOCman List. And really that use case is the ability to embed content from DOCman 2.0 into pages on your website at any time. So instead of people being forced to go to the DOCman page and having to browse for documents, or you having to use DocLink and kind of manually insert links into your articles, we want to have this automatically done, displayed in a nice, friendly way, and we just want it to work, which is kind of my motto. So we'll kind of go through those steps right now. So let me go ahead and clear up this Getting Started page. So here at the college, we have a ton of sections on the site, is what I call them. And, you know, for your organization, this could correspond to a variety of departments, you know, business units, whatever it happens to be. But usually there are more than one that have some sort of need of document management. So I'm going to go through and create a few articles here. Like I said, this is going to be a simple example. Instead of creating a full-fledged site, I'm just creating simple articles. But the principle is pretty much the same in all of them. So let's say we have this academic services section. So academic services is one department there at the college. Then we have business services. And then we have human resources. Then we have a committee area. And I probably forgot a few, but we'll get to those. So we're creating these articles. So going back to the steps we learned earlier, I'm going to go ahead and open up another page here with the categories on it specifically. Apologize, my computer's starting to get a little laggy here. Okay, while I'm waiting for that stuff to load, I'm going to go ahead and create not menu, I want to create menu items. First, I'm going to just set up the structure. Most likely in your site, you already have a structure if this is an existing site. So this step would probably already be done. And you're looking for that use case that DOCman List was made for, which was to embed your documents throughout your existing site. So academic services, business services. And human resources. So in this case, I'm going to be embedding the DOCman List plugin within each of these sections' main pages, but additionally, each of these sections could have its very own documents area, academic services, and then there's a subpage called documents, human resources, subpage called documents. Some sections on our site have, a section called forms, and we have an instance of DOCman List on the forms page. You can really do all kinds of things because DOCman List offers a lot of flexibility and power to you and your site on how you want to list your files that you have within DOCman List. Within DOCman. Okay, so if I refresh now, I have the menu items. So I have each of these, and all these are going to be blank. So I'll go ahead and go back to the article manager. All right, so let's say here on our academic services page, we have, well, I don't really have a lot of pre-prepared content here. But let's say academic services is available to help faculty members on campus. And really this is just to demonstrate that DOCman List really works well within your site because you can be developing a page and typing a bunch of stuff up in an article, and there just might be a little section in that page that you just want to display a few files. And that's what DOCman List really helps out with. So here are the documents made. Okay, so DOCman List, start with a curly brace, followed by DOCman List, get subfolders, say 3 levels deep in this case, and then we need our category ID right here. I don't know it off the top of my head, so that's why I opened up this tab earlier. So academic services has an ID of 12. I can see there at the bottom of my screen. So that's what I'm going to pop in here, 12. Save. And refresh. So now I can see all of the forms are listed here. And once again, if for whatever reason there was something here that I didn't like, that I wanted to change from the default, I have that option. So I'll go ahead and use my demo page with all the demo output that I created just a few minutes ago and show you how easy it is to use some of these options here. The only problem is that there's so many, which is good. It's a good thing. But at times even I have difficulty remembering all of the different options I've provided. Let's see down here. So let's see, hide uploaded by. So let's say I want to hide the uploaded by column, hide uploaded by. And let's say I want to hide the added on date, hide added on. There we go, hide added on. Okay, the same thing here. Hide added on, save, refresh. So now we're going to see a little bit more room here. So now we just have the last updated on and the size columns displayed. And then once again, if this ordering wasn't what we wanted, let's change that ordering once again to order ascending. Save. And then if we want to show it in a collapsed state, we could do show collapsed. Save. There we go. So it's totally up to you. Show category counts. And the key here is to make sure that the defaults that you have set in the plugin configuration are what's going to be used most often on your site as the default settings. That way you don't have to always be using these various parameters. Try and set the defaults to be where you're going to be using the most, and then that way these particular instances that differ, those would be the only ones that you would have to actually use the option keys for. But obviously, you could do things however you want, but just doing it that way tends to be the most manageable. So for example, if you had to use, if you left the table layout set as a default, which is how DOCman List comes by default, but you kept on doing this, use the nested table layout, and let's say you're using DOCman List across 20 places on your site, well then, if you ever want to change that kind of default layout, you can't really do it in the plugin configuration anymore. You do have to go into the individual locations and make those changes manually. So it all depends on how you want to do things, but that's just my recommendation. So that's the academic services page. Let me go ahead and kind of copy that, let's say. Well, I'll just ignore it. So save and close. So next I'll go to business services. And business services, you'll see there at the bottom of my screen, has an ID of 45. So business services provides accounting, fiscal, and budgeting services for the college. So like I said, there's a text in here. Then whenever you wish to list your files, let me just double check again. I think it was 45. Yeah, 45. So ID number is 45, close curly brace, save. So now if I go to the business services page, I can see all of their files listed. And once again, since I'm not overriding anything here, it's using the default, and all the columns are back in place, and everything's expanded once again. So committee, save and close. So committee has an ID of 21 there at the bottom of my screen. So DOCman List, get subfolders, and level deep, the category ID equals 21, save. All right, so all of our committees are now listed here. So another option that I haven't gone over should be down here towards the bottom. No, the ordering is kind of different here. Auto expand to one level. So for example, when you use the show collapsed option and you turn that on, you then have the ability to kind of customize the auto expansion. So typically show collapse means collapse everything, so you're down to just, single level to start with, and then you expand all the way down from there. But if you have the auto expand one level turned on, auto expand one level, and by the way, these are case sensitive, so if you type it with a little e, that won't work, but if you type it with a big E, it will work. So let's save that and refresh here. We will then be collapsed up until the first level. So this is kind of nice to kind of give an indicator of, what is maybe inside the committees folder instead of just, it being fully collapsed like this. You can have a listing here of all the committees that might be in the committees folder. An additional option in order to kind of prevent redundancy. So, for example, here we have the committees folder or the committees page listed at the top. Does it really make sense to, show committees again down here? Not always, and that's what I meant by redundant. So in DOCman List 2.6 and newer, I did add an ability to show parent category or hide parent category. So for example here, if I turn on hide parent category, what that does is it hides category ID of 21, and it just includes all of the children. So what that means is it skips the committees one on the outside, and it just includes academic senate, college council, and everything else that might be within committees. So if I refresh the page now, we now see we no longer have that parent committees category. We just have what's inside it, the academic senate and college council. And then since we have that auto expand one level turned on, we do see things are open one level deep. So that's that one. And then lastly, let's go into human resources. And we'll see here, human resources has a category ID equal to 36 at the bottom of my screen. So human resources provide all of the staffing, and benefits services on the college. The DOCman List, get subfolders, 99 levels deep, so category ID equal to 36, save. Go to human resources. So the way we have it on our side is we actually have a separate forms section within Human Resources, which has the Forms category embedded in it. And then we have a separate section about job descriptions and a separate page for salary schedules. And then I don't have it here, but we also have a job opportunities area as well. So each of those are embedded across different pages on the site. Here, because it's a simpler example, it's all just kind of listed in one area. But if I wanted to, I could take this category ID of 37 for job descriptions and embed that on a job description specific page, which might be more user-friendly. So let me just see if there's something else I might be able to just kind of go over here. I guess there's two different things just to go over quickly. So for example, here by default, DOCman 2 makes PDF files just viewable in the browser. And they used to have a view link and they used to have a download link, but they kind of changed that in DOCman 2 to really just do either view if it's the type of file that could be viewed in a browser, or download if it can't. And there really wasn't a way to kind of differentiate between the two, but a client pointed out that there's this forced download link option within the menu items, which I hadn't seen. So by default, I'm going to use whatever is in, DOCman, whether it's preview or download. But I did add in version 2.6.4 of the plugin, this new use forced download link option. So right here, forced download link will take you, the regular link will view the file in the browser. If I turn on the use forced download link, oops, typo. So if you make a mistake, you just get no output. So just for you to know, the use forced download links is what I needed to use. So if you ever don't get any output, something like this, then just, might mean that you might have had a typo somewhere when you're typing in the code. All right. So now, if I click on one of these links, you'll notice at the bottom of the screen there's an extra parameter called force_download is equal to 1. And if I click on the files now, it initiates a download. So just a quick new feature that's available. And then the other thing, there's one other option I wanted to go over. Filter by area, increase memory output. Well, the forced caching on is kind of one of those options, which might make sense to go over. So forced caching on. So forced caching on. So remember, forced caching on would typically be used in a particular instance of DOCman List that is memory intensive, or just output heavy. There's a lot of output being generated, and by doing that, you should get some improved response times on subsequent page loads. Things should load a lot faster. And a quick way you could tell that it's working correctly is over in your clear cache area. You should see some stuff come up for the DOCman List plugin. The caveat there is that sometimes if you're making some changes with the options, you're not going to see them reflected if you're using caching. So you may have to come back here and clear out the cache in order to see the new changes. And there are tons and tons of additional options. Pretty much all of them have been client requests. So if there's something new that you think of, feel free to contact me. But hopefully this gets you started with DOCman List and using DOCman 2.0 and new, more flexible ways on your website. Enjoy!